Like and subscribe right now, or this spider will crawl on your face while you're sleeping. The ancient world was almost completely lost, but thanks to modern science and archaeology, people have managed to recover many things from the past. These discoveries have opened gates to the learning about past civilizations. Archaeological discoveries are one of the most tiring projects, but incredibly rewarding. Here are the 10 biggest archaeological discoveries of life. Before we begin, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon. Number 10. The Terracotta Army. No archaeological list is complete without the mention of a tomb, and this particular one is the most spectacular of all. In 1974, farmers in China's Shaanxi province coincidentally uncovered one of the greatest archaeological finds of the 20th century, the life-size terracotta army of Emperor Qin Shi Huang. The ornately sculpted figures aren't exactly a mystery. Historians are aware that the clay army was built to protect China's first emperor in the afterlife. However, no one really knows where exactly the emperor is buried, or what treasures his burial chamber might hold. A pyramid-shaped mausoleum is situated about a mile from where the terracotta army was uncovered. But no one has really ever entered the mausoleum that holds Qin Shi Huang's remains. According to ancient documents that describe its construction, Qin Shi's final resting place is the most grandiose tomb ever created in China. It is essentially an underground palace that includes a surrounding kingdom. The mausoleum is made up of a lattice of caves and even includes an avant-garde drainage system. Whether archaeologists will ever have the technology they need to safely dig out the tomb remains to be seen.
Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you'll get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it. It really works.
Number 9. The Rosetta Stone. The Rosetta Stone is a part of a large stone tablet with hieroglyphs that was discovered by French soldiers during the French occupation of Egypt in 1799. It dates back to 196 BC and was inscribed on the orders of the Ptolemaic king Ptolemy V and has been inscribed in 3 languages: Ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, Demotic script, and Ancient Greek. The stone gave the key to deciphering hieroglyphs, which had confused scholars for centuries. The language had previously been impossible to break, and a bilingual find of this sort meant we could begin to make sense of hieroglyphs. We can now translate almost any artifact with ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs thanks to the discovery of the Rosetta Stone. This is why this stone is considered to be one of the most important archaeological discoveries. Number 8. NAZCA lines. The NAZCA lines of Peru are not that special when seen from the ground, but when they're seen from the air, they are spectacular, as proven when they were first spotted by commercial aircraft in the 1920s and 30s. One thing all the archaeologists seem to agree on is that the hundreds of enormous shapes, varying from geometric lines to intricate depictions of animals, plants, and fictional figures, were made over 2,000 years ago by people of the pre-Incan NAZCA culture, who just cleared the red surface pebbles to reveal the lighter earth below in designs of their own. Why they used to do this is still not known, fueling conspiracy theorists to throw around ideas about alien landings and ancient astrology. According to archaeologists, though, it would seem that these lines were more likely to have been a ritual communication method with the NAZCA's deities. Number 7. Dead Sea Scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls are a set of 800 manuscripts and refer to the ancient Jewish manuscripts that were found in about 11 Qumran caves near the Dead Sea. The scrolls are written in Hebrew and have both biblical and non-biblical material. The discovery of these scrolls was one of the biggest archaeological achievements of the 20th century. These scrolls contain 19 copies of the Book of Isaiah, 25 copies of Deuteronomy, and 30 copies of Psalms. In addition to that, the scrolls are the oldest group of Old Testament manuscripts ever found and date over a 700-year period before the birth of Jesus Christ. They've provided great insight for biblical translators, allowing to see what the Bible was like 2,000 years ago, and how it was put together by various people over a period of many years. Number 6. Tomb of Tutankhamun. In 1907, Theodore M. Davis discovered a couple of funerary artifacts with Tutankhamun's name on them. He organized an archaeological dig within the area, but could not find his tomb. Despite the letdown, a different team of researchers went on to excavate the nearly intact tomb of Tutankhamun in 1922. Their discovery led to one of the biggest media sensations in history. King Tut's artifacts and masks are some of the most iconic symbols of Egypt. Besides that, the various deaths linked to those who had tried to excavate his tomb before was attributed to the curse of the pharaohs. His mummy, along with all his art, jewelry, clothing, and artifacts, had been displayed in various museums all over the world and have raised a worldwide interest in the ancient Egyptian culture. Number 5. Pompeii. In AD 79, Mount Vesuvius erupted and drowned the Roman city of Pompeii in a cloud of volcanic gases and debris, killing any and all of the city's residents who did not manage to escape. The remains of the city and its citizens were buried under a blanket of pumice stone and ash around 23 feet deep. Pompeii remained untouched for over 1,000 years until, in the late 16th century, Domenico Fontana, an architect, chanced upon the ancient walls of a Pompeii residence while working on an infrastructure project. However, no further excavations were made at the site until the middle of the 18th century, when workmen digging a foundation for the summer palace of the King of Naples uncovered the remains of Herculaneum, which was a nearby town that had suffered the same fate as Pompeii. Pompeii itself was intentionally excavated not long after that. Even after centuries, the city continues to be a popular attraction for tourists, and many artifacts from the site can be seen at the Naples National Archaeological Museum. Number 4. The Library of Ashurbanipal. Bookworms, it's your time to shine. In the 1850s, archaeologists in Kuyunjik, Iraq, uncovered an immeasurable amount of clay tablets that were inscribed with text from the 7th century BC. These ancient books belonged to Ashurbanipal, who used to rule the ancient kingdom of Assyria from 668 BC to around 630 BC. The more than 30,000 pieces of writings consisted of historical texts, administrative and legal documents, medical treatises, magical manuscripts, and literary works, including the Epic of Gilgamesh. The texts have incredible importance in the study of ancient cultures of the Near East. Many pieces from the Library of Ashurbanipal are currently being kept in the British Museum. Number 3. Rapa Nui. The Rapa Nui, or Easter Island, is located in the Southeast Pacific and is best known to be the home of around 1,000 gigantic head statues, or moai. There are an approximate 900 moai on Rapa Nui, which were carved and put up sometime between the 11th and 17th centuries AD. The figures, which are made up of oversized heads on top of long torsos, vary in height from 6 feet to over 30 feet, although one incomplete moai on the island is over 65 feet tall. The moai and the ceremonial platforms, ahu, around which they usually stand, were built by a group of Eastern Polynesian settlers who came to the island sometime around the 1st century AD. It is said that the Rapa Nui people used to worship their ancestors and depended on their ancestral gods for protection and good fortune during life and the afterlife. Researchers believe that the moai were constructed as representations of these glorified ancestors. And with that, it's now time for today's subscriber pick. Today's photo was sent to us by one of our subscribers. If you come across a photo online and want to know more details about it, just send it on over to us. Who knows, we might even feature it on future videos. Number 2. Back in 2017, a statue was being pulled from a gritty area in Cairo that was assumed to be that of Ramses II. But determining the identity of the Colossus was complicated because it had been broken into pieces and only fragments of the face were found. Researchers said that it might have been destroyed by early Christians or by the Muslim rulers of Cairo in the 11th century. Ramses II was a formidable figure, not only in Egypt, but across much of the ancient world. During his reign, he expanded his empire to present-day Syria and even into the Sudan. He was also known for great building projects, including lengthy temples filled with statues of him. That's one way to prove your might, no? Number 1. Troy. There are only a few archaeological sites that have been as greatly debated as Troy, which is the ancient city where the Trojan War between the kingdoms of Troy and Mycenaean Greece took place. Scholars disagree on whether this legendary war actually occurred, and if it did, if it took place at the site that many people now identify as the ancient city of Troy. The city is believed to have stood on a site known as Hisarlik on the northwest coast of Turkey. The idea that this particular site was once the city of Troy is based off thousands of years of history and mythology. But in the early 19th century, an archaeologist named Heinrich Schliemann hyped up the idea worldwide after a chain of excavations at Hisarlik uncovered treasures that he claimed belonged to King Priam, the ruler of Troy at the time of the Trojan War. While archaeologists are not entirely sure that Hisarlik is the Troy of legend, they do know that the site was inhabited for thousands of years, from 3000 BC to AD 500 to be exact. As a matter of fact, Hisarlik was the location of at least 13 different cities, each one built upon the ruins of the city that was before it. Well, that concludes our list of the 10 biggest archaeological discoveries of life. Let us know in the comment section below what your thoughts were on today's video. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon.